going to go ahead and film for you my return trip to Kentucky from Florida. So it's about 780 miles. I'm going to go a slightly different way than I came down from. So we're going to start very, very early in the morning, and we'll try to keep you updated. We're going to hit a couple of superchargers we have not hit before, and we'll let you know how things go. The first stop I plan to make tomorrow is to Kingsland, Georgia. So right now it's saying, based on what I currently have in the car, which is 130 miles, I'll arrive with about 10%, which is really fine. So I may just go ahead and leave from here with this much energy in my Tesla. I have laid out my trip, and so this will be starting tomorrow. My first stop is going to be in Brunswick, Georgia, and I should arrive with a lot, with 27%. And then after that, I am going to continue on through a little bit different. I'm going to cut across Georgia from Savannah over to Macon, which I've not done before. So we'll see how that goes. Tomorrow, this stop is at St. Augustine, where I am right now, Florida. It's only 120 watt chargers in an outlet mall, so there's everything around that you possibly need. It's right off the interstate, so that location is good. They could probably use some updates here, but other than that, it's a beautiful place with a small lake behind it, so very, very nice. So next you'll see me is tomorrow morning, leaving for my trip home. It is 2:10 a.m. I am up and ready to go. As you can see, it is currently 75 degrees, and I am heading to Millennium Boulevard in Brunswick, Georgia for my, that's not my first stop, so I'll have to change that. I'm heading to Kingsland, Georgia. Just started the trip. We're about 20 miles into it, and something I'm not used to is my trip energy looks like it might be a little bit worse than predicted. It's usually much better. I am battling a pretty strong wind, almost a headwind, not exactly, but very close to a headwind, even though I'm traveling on a flat road. So you can see I'm 268 watt hours per mile, and usually I'm usually much closer to about 220. So I'm going to arrive at Kingsland with the state's about 27%. So let's see what happens when we get to Kingsland. Just an update. We're about 20 miles, a little less than 20 miles from Kingsland, Georgia. You can see that we're going to arrive somewhere in the 28% range. Right now, we're at 258 watt hours per mile, and this wind is just really high. I mean, the car is moving in and out. Fortunately, Navigate on Autopilot's working well. We are in Kingsland, Georgia, so we're going to go ahead and charge here, and so far we did about 86 miles, 263 watt hours per mile, and it was windy the whole time. It's still very windy here in Kingsland. It's a nice place. 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 8 stations here, and it's too early in the morning, so there's really not much around that's open. A bunch of hotels, but obviously you can't see anything else right now. So let's plan the next step. I just put in traveling back to Kentucky. So right now, here we are in Kingsland. It's suggesting we stop at Brunswick. We're not going to stop there. We're going to stop in Metter, which is on Interstate 16. As we cut across Georgia, it would be right here, would be Metter, and then that's probably Macon, then up towards Atlanta, etc. So, with all of that being said, let's check out how we're doing here. I've never done this before, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to go to Brunswick, which is really a short trip from here, and then to
turn right
then to Metter. So therefore I'm only here for 5 minutes, and moving on I probably didn't even have to come here. So a lesson learned. Well, we are at Brunswick, Georgia, and it is a huge location. It looks like there's either 24 or 26 stations here. Just huge. Bunch of hotels around, some gas stations. Where this is, however, there's just a courtyard by Marriott behind us and a bowling alley in front. So really not a lot of places to just get out and walk to. Anyway, let's see where we are here. Right now we're charging mediocre. So we're going to Metter, and as of now we don't have near enough to get there, of course, so we'll go ahead and get to Metter. I think Metter, by the way, is a 250 kilowatt station. So how did we do just then? Again, the wind is just enormous. 302 watt hours per mile. It was only 35 miles. This should have been my first stop, and that would have made things a whole lot better. So we'll charge here, we'll take off, and we'll head to Metter, Georgia. Assuming this wind may continue as I head up towards Savannah before cutting over, I'll wait until I have about 10%. You can see I finally have hit minus 17% as of now to get to Metter. So Metter's about 115 miles from here. So I assume that we're going to get up to some, we'll have to get up to 210 miles before we take off. It's just time for a status report. We are on Interstate 16 heading towards Macon from the Savannah area. Estimate now is that we'll arrive with about 12%, which is pretty close to what we thought. One thing I've noted, when I use Navigate on autopilot, the exit ramp is way too aggressive. Only one was I able to allow it to actually work. The other ones I had to take over. So just some information for you. We are in Metter, Georgia, and it's a kind of a unique setup here as far as the chargers are concerned. We're at a gas station, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 chargers here, and there's several other chargers on the other side. So it looks like there's probably 8 chargers. And right now we're getting ready. We're charging up, as you can see, 102, and I think these are 250 kilowatt chargers, so it should be pretty quick. The leg of the trip from Brunswick to Metter, Georgia, you can see it was 116 miles. We used 32 kilowatt hours, 276 watt hours per mile, which is very high for what I typically get. I drive the speed limit. I'm usually pretty careful. So how are we doing so far? So far we've come 237 miles. We've used 65 kilowatt hours and averaging 275 watt hours per mile so far. So we have actually we have 600 miles to go, so we have quite a ways to go yet. It's time for a check. We're midway between Metter, Georgia and Macon, Georgia, and as you can see, the sun is up and it's daybreak. It's also 20 degrees cooler than when I left Florida, so that's a significant difference. Anyway, let's take a look at how we're going to do. We left estimating 10% on arrival, and this is now saying 14%. So we're doing really well. As you can see, we've driven about 47 miles and doing 285 watt hours per mile. Again, a little bit high, but the wind is completely gone now, which is great news. So we will check in with you when we get to Macon, Georgia. So here we are in Macon, Georgia, and you can see so far total trip about 346 miles, not quite halfway yet. The last leg we did was 108 miles, 276 watt hours per mile for the trip. I'm sorry, 276, and for the trip 275, so about the same. Next stop is going to be Acworth, Georgia. We're going to be here about 25 minutes, and not too bad here. There's a shopping center with a bunch of little shops over on the left. Publix is there, Dollar Tree, etc. And actually right behind us is a Panera. So that's not bad. I didn't realize before how much of an angle the ride is, where it goes to Chattanooga and then along the mountains up to Knoxville and then straight up. So I really would rather go the other way, which is I-26 to I-40, but unfortunately the supercharger is on the west side of Knoxville, and it would cost me over 50 minutes to go there and then back over. So hoping that sometime soon they'll have another supercharger there. We're in Acworth, Georgia, and we'll get ready to go into Tennessee from here. And we actually finished a whole lot better than we thought we would. We had estimated that we'd have I think 11%, 12%, and we got here with 26%. So significantly better. Going through Atlanta, it helps that you can't go very fast there. So where are we going next? This says Chattanooga. Boy, I'd really like to be able to get past Chattanooga to Knoxville. So let's see what happens. It has us here for 15 minutes. Let me see what happens. I might try to go a little further. Instead of waiting another 40 minutes here, I'm actually going to leave and go to Chattanooga and stop there. That's only about 75 miles. That's a whole lot better than waiting here all that time. And how are we doing? The last trip was awesome, 218 watt hours per mile. So right now we've gone 455 miles, and as you can see, our watt hours have come down quite a bit. So we're going to head to Chattanooga. We'll soon see if we made the right decision. We're on I-75 between Atlanta and Chattanooga. As you can see, it's a pretty nice day. And I don't know if you can see up there, but there's lots of trucks. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. Anyway, right now it's telling me I'm going to get there with 16% at Chattanooga, and I'll do a fast charge there. I'm in Chattanooga, and this is not a good stop. Let me tell you why. Two things. One is the traffic was horrendous. There's all kinds of construction on I-75 at the Georgia-Tennessee border. Two is, I don't know if you can see on this map, but Chattanooga Airport is where this charger is. So I'm not quite sure what that is going to mean. This is I tried to stop here and then go on quickly to Knoxville, but now I wish I had just charged a little bit longer and went straight to Knoxville. This was a mistake. Anyway, I am in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and for that leg of the journey, it was only 85 miles, 220 watt hours per mile, so pretty good. And so far today, we've done 539 miles. Watt hours are down to 255. I only stayed at Chattanooga Airport for 10 minutes and charged there. And the drive back to Interstate 75 was not too bad, I would have to admit. The charge was supposed to get me to Knoxville with 10%. I've only been on the road a few seconds, but let's see where we are. And it looks like it's 14%, so we're fine. We are simply checking in on Interstate 75 North between Chattanooga and Knoxville, and we're doing pretty good right now. And let's see what the energy expects. And it looks like we're going to arrive with about 18%, and based on the upcoming traffic, I have a feeling the car is going to want me to eventually get over into the left lane. The lane changes have been very good. I'm very impressed with those. I continue to worry about the exit ramp strategy. And we just changed lanes. Knoxville for 25 minutes, going from here to London, Kentucky. And let's see, we did arrive here with 17%, which was a little bit more than I left. Is estimating 10, so significantly better. And right now for London, Kentucky, it tells me it's going to take about 25 minutes here. Statistics: the last leg was only 91 miles, 21 kilowatt hours, 234 watt hours per mile, which is again very good. And let's see how the trip is going. We're at 630 miles, so we're almost there. We have 230 to 40 to go, and we're averaging 252 kilowatt hours per mile. And right now for London, Kentucky, it is saying that we're minus 11%, so we're almost there. We arrived here, we were minus 42. This was a 25-minute stop, and there's 15 minutes left on it. We are ready to go. As you can see, it shows 5 minutes, and it shows we're going to arrive with 11%. Currently on the way to London, Kentucky, you can see that my watt hours per mile are awesome, but I have to go over that mountain in front of us, and that is probably going to soak up a whole lot of energy, I would guess. So anyway, we are on the move, and right now it's actually estimating a great amount of energy when we arrive, 30%. And if you remember, I left it, I think it was around 15%. So big difference. Here comes Kentucky next. Then Kentucky, getting a pretty good charge, only 15 minutes here. Let's see, that particular leg was 111 miles, 222 watt hours per mile, and we are at mile 741, so we only have about 50 miles to go. We are almost there. Not much here, but there's fast food. There's a McDonald's, a Shell station, a steakhouse, Cheddar's, and right there is actually the tourist center, which is where I'm going to go. Not a very nice, I mean, there's no lines or anything here. Destination. So for today, 820 miles, 200 kilowatt hours, 244 watt hours per mile. So all very good. It took just over 15 hours.